Support Pause and Support Gear by Sunset Cougar. Chapter 8 Entrance Exams. It was only a month into the third semester of the school year when Aldera Middle School shut down. The reason? A bully had targeted Clover. He had injured her legs so badly she wouldn't be able to go out for a week. Needless to say, Izuko, Inko, the Yamada Aizawa family, and the Hatsume family were very, very angry. Kaio descended upon Aldera like a vicious dragon, dragging it and every staff member in it through the mud. She had been waiting for an opportunity to destroy them. She revealed just how much bullying the teachers covered up, and how they targeted the weaker students as well. Kaio knew the law like the back of her hand, partially thanks to her photographic memory, and sued them until they didn't have a yen to stand on. It was safe to say the Midoriya family gained a fair bit of money from the whole ordeal. Izuku read the article about Aldera's downfall with smug satisfaction. They deserved it. And now he had to turn his attention to preparing for the UA entrance exam, which was approaching quickly. He had to finish his folder of designs and make sure he would be able to make something amazing during the practical portion of the exam. Izuku grinned as he, Mei, and Hitoshi made their way into UA. They would be taking the same general tests, but then Hitoshi would split off from them for the heroics exam. Hitoshi had his Eskrima sticks and a pair of sheaths on his thighs. Shota knew how to fight with them and had given Hitoshi a crash course. Izuku was so distracted with his thoughts that he didn't notice the rock until his foot hit it and he was falling. Mei and Hitoshi leapt forward in tandem to catch him, but only succeeded in ramming into each other. Izuku didn't have time to catch himself before he suddenly found himself floating. "Are you alright?" A brown-haired girl standing next to him asked. Izuku blinked in surprise and she smiled apologetically. "It's my quirk. Sorry for using it without you asking first, but it's bad luck to trip and fall, right?" Thanks," Izuku said a bit awkwardly. The girl put her fingers together and Izuku's feet touched the ground. Immediately, his lack of balance came into play and he tripped sideways, directly into the girl. She let out a surprised yelp at the extra weight and they both went tumbling to the ground. He froze when he realized what a compromising position they were in. Several people had stopped to see what all the commotion was about. A few whispered and giggled. One even wolf whistled. "I am so sorry," Izuku cried, pushing himself off of the girl. "I have a really hard time balancing and I wasn't prepared." "It's fine," the girl said, sitting up. She was blushing furiously. "I just hit my elbow. I'll be okay." Hitoshi bent down and helped Izuku up. He grabbed Clover's harness as the girl stood. The girl blinked in surprise when she noticed Clover, before apologizing again. "I'm sorry. I didn't notice your dog and thought you would be able to stand by yourself. Wait, that was probably rude. I'm really sorry." She buried her flaming red face in her hands. Izuku laughed a bit, rubbing the back of his neck. "It's okay. Some people wouldn't bother apologizing if they said something rude. Anyway, we should probably go. The exams are going to start soon." The girl gasped. "Oh my gosh, you're right. Well, good luck." She waved as she ran off. "Well, that was interesting." Mei grinned as the trio started walking again. "I think she likes you, Izu." Izuku grinned with a snort of laughter. She's not my type." "Aw," Mei fake cooed. "Little Izu is already a heartbreaker." Neither one of them noticed Hitoshi's face darkening at the idea that the girl liked Izuku, or him perking up a bit when he said she wasn't his type. The general exam went by quickly, and when it was over, Izuku was confident in his answers. He and Mei waved Hitoshi goodbye as he went off to take the heroics exam, and they went to take the support one. For the support exam, everyone got 4 hours to make something. 2 of the teachers judged it, and whoever did the best got in. It was pretty straightforward. Izuku and Mei turned in their folders and then made their ways to their assigned stations. Each station was fully stocked with materials and tools, and they were all separated by dividers to keep participants from seeing what the others were making. Izuku put Clover under his station, pulled out his blueprint, and got to work the moment the exam started. "Izuku!" Mei called as they met up, boxes holding their inventions in hand. "Hey, Mei," Izuku said. "Did your gecko gloves turn out well?" "Yep. They worked out perfectly when I tested them. How about the persona cords?" "They work. I'm glad I thought of bringing recordings of your and Hitoshi's voice to test them." "You alright, Izu?" Mei asked, noticing Izuku's sad expression. They were sitting on the train. Hitoshi was at home by now, since his exam had ended a lot earlier than theirs. Izuku sighed. What if they don't accept me because I'm paralyzed? What if they see quirkless on my file and don't look beyond that? What if they decide they don't want someone like me tarnishing UA's reputation as the best of the best? Then UA doesn't deserve you, Mei said confidently. If they deny you for something as stupid as that, then we'll just go to another school. Then once we're famous inventors, they'll regret turning you down. Izuku smiled. Thanks, Mei. You always know how to make me feel better. Mei grinned. It's one of my many talents. We're going to be the CEOs of Hatsudori Industries, and no one can stop us. The entire world will know about our babies. 2 weeks later, Inko burst into Izuku's room holding a box and a letter. He was sitting at his computer watching a video of a baby go. Izuku! Your letter! It came! Inko cried. Izuku lit up in excitement as he paused the video and grabbed the letter. Inko put the box on his bed. It held the persona cords he had made during the exam. He opened the letter and pulled out a projector disc. He put it on the desk and steeled himself before pressing the button. Immediately, a large projection of the hero power loader popped up. Hello, Midori Izuku, the projection said. I'm here to give you your results. In the written exam, you passed with an outstanding total score of 91%. The judges were especially impressed with your quirk analysis. As for the practical exam, you passed with flying colors. The persona cords are an impressive piece of gear, and we're excited to see what else you'll create. Welcome to UA. This is your support academia. Izuku burst into happy tears as the projection vanished. Inko wrapped him in a hug, crying just as much as he was. I did it! Izuku saw. I got into UA! I'm going to be a support hero, Mom! I'm so proud of you, baby! Inko cried, hugging him tighter. I'm so sorry I ever doubted you. Clover whined and shoved herself into the hug, not liking seeing Izuku cry. He laughed and rubbed her ears. I got in! We're going to UA, Clover! She grinned in her doggy way and started attacking his face with her tongue, her whole body shaking with the force of her wags. Izuku laughed harder. Izuku's fingers tapped against the cafe table as he waited for his friends. They were going to meet up here and then spend the night at Hitoshi's house. He didn't know if his friends had gotten in, and he was nervous. What if they hadn't? Unconsciously, he started scratching at his arms as he thought about that horrible possibility. They had all worked so hard, and he didn't want to be separated from the first people outside of his mom that had given a damn about him. The nearest school that had a really good hero or support program that wasn't UA was over 3 hours away. So if his friends went there, they'd have to stay in the dorms, and he wouldn't see them except for holidays and maybe a few weekends. Clover noticed his scratching and immediately set her upper body on his lap, stopping him from hurting himself. He exhaled deeply and buried his hands in her fur, grounding himself with the texture and weight of her body. "I love you," he muttered. She grinned and leaned against him more. A few minutes later, the door opened and Mei came in, grinning massively and closely followed by Hitoshi. "Hey!" Mei called, waving. She and Hitoshi came over to the table and sat across from Izuku, who quickly pulled out his acceptance letter. He was too excited and nervous to talk. They pulled out their own letters, and in unison, they all flipped them over to show their results. They were all acceptance letters. Almost immediately, Mei shrieked in joy and practically threw herself across the table so she could hug both Hitoshi and Izuku, who were laughing and smiling and gladly returned the affection. They all got in. You better watch out, because come the start of the next year, the Trouble Trio would be students, and they would definitely be leaving their marks. Alright, y'all, just a sec, I'm gonna take a drink real quick. Chapter 9. My past is a heavy burden to bear, but you make it lighter. Trigger warning for this chapter. Discussions of bullying and trauma. If this upsets you in any way and feel uncomfortable with watching this chapter, I understand. Do whatever you feel is necessary for you to be safe. That said, let's go ahead and start. "Dad, Papa, I'm home," Hitoshi called as he opened the door to his apartment, Mei and Izuku on his heels. "Does anyone need comforting?" Hisashi asked, leaning over the counter that separated the kitchen and the living room. "Nope," Mei said cheerfully. "We all got in." "That's wonderful. I'll order dinner in a couple of hours. You kids make sure you don't do anything scandalous." Hisashi wiggled his eyebrows with a grin. Hitoshi turned as red as an overripe tomato. "Papa!" Hisashi just laughed as the three teenagers went to Hitoshi's room. Mei and Izuku put their backpacks in a corner and Izuku took off Clover's vest. She immediately shook herself before flopping on the end of Hitoshi's bed, where the humans all sat as well. "By the time you go home, my bed's gonna be like 80% dog hair," Hitoshi said. Izuku laughed. "Maybe you can turn it into yarn and make a sweater." "That's weird. You're weird." "You're weird." "You're weirder." Ladies, you're both pretty," Mei said, grinning. Hitoshi reached over to shove her, but she rolled away, accidentally smacking Izuku with her foot. He grabbed it and started tickling her mercilessly, cackling as she shrieked and tried to squirm away. Clover stood and started licking Mei's face, tail wagging so hard it was a blur. Mei shrieked even louder as she tried to fend off both attacks. She ended up rolling off the bed, hitting the ground with a thump. There was a knock at the door and Hisashi called, "Is everything okay? I heard a lot of screaming." "We're fine," Hitoshi called as Mei sat up. "We were just wrestling." "Okay. Try not to make too much noise. We don't want the neighbors to put in another noise complaint." "Those are mostly your fault." Hisashi didn't reply and Hitoshi smiled as he lay back on his bed. "So what do you guys want to do?" "We could play the new video game that came out," Izuku suggested. "The one with the hero, vigilante, and villain options. We can make a new profile on my account." That's a great idea, Hitoshi said immediately. Mei eyed him weirdly, but he didn't notice, too focused on Izuku as the green ad started setting up the game. The three spent the next couple of hours playing, Izuku as a villain, and Mei and Hitoshi as vigilantes. The latter two quickly realized that they should be very thankful that Izuku hadn't become a villain. He was terrifyingly good at strategizing the best ways to increase his power, while keeping damages to himself at a minimum. They paused the game when Shota knocked on the door, telling them they needed to choose what they were ordering for dinner. After a bit of a debate, they settled on curry. Once that was done, the three teenagers decided to use the time until they got their food to fill out a few forms that had come with their acceptance letters. UA needed a full list of any mental and or physical issues, along with all of the meds they were taking, and any support equipment they needed. So apparently All Might is going to be a teacher at UA this year, Hitoshi said, copying the name of his antidepressants onto the form. Izuku didn't say anything for a long moment, before he put a pillow over his face and screamed. It helped a little. Are you alright? Mei asked when he lowered the pillow. Why does the universe hate me? He asked. Hitoshi frowned. I know you don't particularly like All Might, but it can't be that bad. I doubt you'll even be in any of his classes. Izuku sighed. I never did tell you exactly how I became paralyzed, did I? You jumped off a roof, right? They asked. Izuku nodded. Yeah, but I mean what led up to that. That day was the worst day of my life for more than one reason. He gave his friends a moment to protest in case they didn't want to hear, but they said nothing, so he barreled on. He'd only ever told this to his therapist. Of course he left out All Might's injury. He may hate the man, but he wasn't stupid enough to reveal such a massive weakness. It was the beginning of the school year, and my classmates were talking about future careers. Someone asked if I still wanted to be a hero, and I said yes. So obviously they made fun of me and laughed in my face, you know? The usual for a quirkless kid. But after class, one of my main bullies, a guy named Bakugo, cornered me and stole one of my notebooks. He has an explosion-based power, and he used it to burn the notebook up. Then he threw it out the window. He told me if I wanted to be a hero so badly, I should take a swan dive off the roof of the building and pray for a quirk in my next life. Mei and Hitoshi inhaled sharply at that. They looked angry. That bastard! Hitoshi growled. How fucking pathetic do you have to be to suicide bait someone? He's always been like that, Izuku admitted. For a long time I held on to the delusion that we were still friends, since we were when we were little kids, before his quirk came in. I realized we never truly were shortly after I jumped. Anyway, I got my notebook from the koi pond and started walking home. On the way I was attacked by a villain. I almost died, but All Might saved me. I was pretty stupid, I'll admit. I grabbed onto his leg when he jumped away. We landed on a rooftop and I finally got to ask my question. Did someone who's quirkless like me ever hope to become a hero like you? He said no, and then left me on the roof alone after crushing my dreams, which were pretty much the only things keeping me going at that point. After they were gone, I saw no more point in living, so I took Bakugo's advice and jumped. Next thing I knew, I was waking up in the hospital. His friends were completely silent. It wasn't until Clover licked his cheek that Izuku realized he was crying. Even after so long, the memories were still so painful. Can I hug you? Mei asked quietly. Izuku nodded as she wrapped her arms around him. Hitoshi's fists clenched. He looked pissed. That bastard! Some hero he is. How could he just crush a kid's dream and then leave them on a goddamn roof? Doesn't he know the statistics for quirkless people? Izuku shrugged. I lost my admiration and respect for him that day. I guess that's why they say never meet your heroes. Yeah. Is that where the taser of yours was born? Hitoshi asked. Izuku nodded. I think that's part of it. I guess carrying around a taser that could take out All Might makes me feel a bit better. Like maybe if I get attacked again, I won't be so helpless. You're not helpless, May said confidently. You're one of the strongest people I know. I agree. Hitoshi nodded. Izuku smiled, the tears in his eyes happy this time. He loved his friend so much. Izuku, Mei, and Hitoshi were all sitting around the coffee table in the Yamada Aizawa apartment, their takeout curry in front of them, half finished. Hisashi and Shota were in their room, watching a movie. 3 teenagers were going to play Truth or Dare. Mei was grinning like the cat that caught the canary, eyes flicking between Hitoshi and Izuku. I'll go first, she grinned. Izuku, Truth or Dare? Truth? Izuku said, rubbing Clover's head where it lay on his lap. Do you have a crush on anyone? Izuku's cheeks flushed red and he stammered. Yeah. Truth or Dare? Hitoshi, Truth or Dare? Dare. Hitoshi stuttered, avoiding looking at Izuku. A mix of hope and fear curled in his chest like a snake. Go eat a spoonful of mayonnaise. Hitoshi couldn't help but groan as he got up to get a spoon and the condiment. Mayonnaise was disgusting. He gagged and nearly threw up as his friends laughed at his suffering. He flipped them off, which only made them laugh harder. Hey, Truth or Dare? He asked as he sat back down. He jammed a spoonful of curry into his mouth to drive away the aftertaste of the mayonnaise. Truth, she said brightly. How close have you come to being arrested? May tapped her chin thoughtfully. Well, there was the time I almost burned all my clothes off in public. The incident where I nearly slit a guy's throat with a knife drone. And of course there's the mall fire. I'm actually not sure. At this point I think the heroes and police have probably all been warned about me, just because of how often I almost caused a disaster. Hitoshi sighed as Izuku laughed. One of these days you're going to get arrested, and I'm not bailing you out. Hitoshi deadpanned. But I thought we were friends, May pouted. He flicked a piece of rice at her. It hit her in the forehead and she flopped over dramatically, pretending she had been shot. Clover stood up and licked the rice off May's face, causing the pink-haired girl to splutter and sit up, wiping dog drool from her eyes. She gave Izuku and Hitoshi an unimpressed look as they laughed. Chapter 10. Drunken Confessions, just without the drinking. I know it's in here somewhere, Hitoshi muttered as he dug around his closet for his cat-themed Monopoly game. Is that it? Izuku asked, peering over Hitoshi's shoulder and pointing. Neither of them noticed May creeping up behind them until she shoved them both, causing them to fall forward and hit the back of the closet, or in Izuku's case, Hitoshi's back. Then she slammed the door closed and used one of Hitoshi's belts to tie it shut. Hey! Hitoshi cried, turning in, accidentally kneeing Izuku in the darkness. Sorry, let us out, May! No! May answered. I'm tired of you two dancing around each other, so I'm not letting you out until you admit it. She ignored any more attempts to talk to her, and because of the shape of the apartment, Hitoshi's room was on the opposite side of his parents', so even if they wanted to wake them up, it would be very hard to, especially considering Hisashi was almost deaf. Hitoshi sighed and sat down, leaning against the wall, Izuku sitting across from him. Greenette let out a small grunt of pain as he sat down. Are you okay? Hitoshi asked, worried. Yeah, my legs just hurt pretty bad. His chronic pain was acting up. Can I rub your legs? Might help, Hitoshi suggested. That would be really nice, Izuku agreed. Hitoshi pulled one of Izuku's legs onto his lap and nudged his pant leg higher after asking permission. They were quiet as Hitoshi rubbed Izuku's legs, helping the muscles relax. By now their eyes had adjusted to the dim light, so they could see a fair amount of both their surroundings and each other. Hitoshi didn't look at Izuku as he mulled over Mei's words, until they admitted it. She wanted him to admit his crush, but why? It wasn't like Izuku would ever love him back. He had so many problems and struggled so much just to find the will to get out of bed some days. Why would anybody ever want to date him, especially someone as amazing as Izuku? Hitoshi took a deep breath as he leaned back against the wall, and Izuku pulled his pant legs back down. Might as well get it over with. Hey, Izuku? Yeah? There's something I've been wanting to tell you for a while, but I don't know how to say it. Hitoshi glanced up at Izuku's face and immediately looked away, mouth dry. I like you, okay? I have a crush on you, and I have for months. You're just so beautiful and bright, like the sun. I mean, I know you could never like someone like me that way, and now I'm rambling and I probably sound so stupid, so I should just shut up. Hitoshi buried his face in his arms. Well, he royally screwed that up. He wished the floor would come to life and swallow him whole, or that he'd melt into the shadows and disappear forever. The silence was painful as it stretched on, seeming to last forever. Finally, Izuku spoke. You like me? I don't know what to say. Great. Now Hitoshi had probably ruined their friendship. I like you too. Izuku said it so quickly that Hitoshi wasn't completely sure he had heard him right. He slowly lifted his head. Izuku was averting his eyes, focusing on picking at a loose thread in his shirt. Q. What? I like you, romantically. I'm not really sure how long I've had a crush on you, but it's definitely there. It has been for a while. I figured, why would you want to date me of all people? The paralyzed, quirkless kid with 1,000,001 problems. I don't care about your problems. You work so hard to get better and keep going. You're so strong and smart and passionate. I'm just me. I think you're amazing too. You're persistent, brave, cunning, and so much more. They went quiet again, unsure how to proceed. Eventually, Hitoshi asked, Do you want a kiss? That's something that people who like each other do, right? Yeah, I do. Hitoshi carefully scooted closer to Izuku and put his hand on the brunette's cheek. They leaned in and carefully slotted their lips together. The kiss was messy and unsure, since neither of them had any idea what they were doing. But to them, it was the most amazing thing in the world. They parted, and Hitoshi was sure his grin was incredibly dopey, but he couldn't help it. He had just kissed his crush. Do you want to be boyfriends? Izuku asked, leaning in into Hitoshi's hand, which was still on his cheek. I'd love to be your boyfriend. Hitoshi nodded. They both leaned in for another kiss, but jumped and pulled apart when the closet door was ripped open. Finally! Mei cackled. I thought I'd have to find another brainwasher to get you two to admit that you like each other. Izuku and Mei left early in the next morning. In the moment the door shut, Hitoshi walked over to the couch, lay face down, and screamed into a pillow for a solid 30 seconds. Hizashi looked over at Shota, who was sipping his coffee. 200 yen says he and Izuku kissed. I'm not an idiot. No bet. Hitoshi felt like he might faint, or throw up, or both. Izuku should meet him soon, so they could ride the train to the butterfly pavilion they had decided would be the location for their first date. And wasn't that incredible? Hitoshi had a date with Izuku. Yeah, he might actually throw up. But if he did, he would die of mortification, especially if Izuku saw him. Hey, Hitoshi! Hitoshi turned to see Izuku approaching him. He was wearing a plain black t-shirt, a dark green jacket, and jeans, as well as a necklace with an emerald green teardrop-shaped pendant that hung right in the middle of his collarbone. It matched his eyes and hair beautifully. Hitoshi was wearing a black turtleneck with a jean jacket, jeans, and combat boots. He also had an amethyst stud earring in either earlobe. Hi, I like your necklace, Hitoshi said as Izuku stopped beside him so they could wait for the train together. Izuku smiled nervously. Thanks, it's my mom's. She's letting me borrow it. It suits you. Izuku blushed. You look really nice too. Did you get your ears pierced? Hitoshi nodded. Yesterday. My parents knew I had been wanting to for a while, and since I got into the hero course, they said I could as a sort of celebration. You look really good on you. Soon, the train arrived and they got on. Luckily, it wasn't too full, so they got to sit next to each other, and there was no worry of Clover being crowded. They sat in silence. After a few minutes, Izuku's eyes started to close as the rhythmic swaying of the train lulled him to sleep. His head fell onto Hitoshi's shoulder, causing the purple-haired boy to freeze for fear of waking him. He couldn't stop his cheeks from turning pink, and a couple of old ladies sitting across from them cooed. The butterfly pavilion was beautiful. It was a massive glass dome filled with plants, walkways, and of course butterflies. Hitoshi and Izuku wandered through it, chatting and admiring the butterflies. They seemed to particularly like Hitoshi's hair. A quick internet search revealed it was because purple was among Butterfly's favorite colors. Izuku laughed at the look on Hitoshi's face. Butterflies were all over his hair, and one had even landed on his nose. Hitoshi didn't move his head, but he turned his eyes to Izuku. Izuku, he hissed. Help me. Izuku just laughed harder. Alright, y'all. I think that's a good spot to end this video for now. As you can tell, I'm starting to feel better. Probably 1 or 2 more days and I'll be back to 100%, I hope. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm answer every comment, and I'm open to suggestions, or if you have any recommendations for new fanfics to do, I can check them out. So, all that said, again, I hope you enjoyed and have a great day. And ciao for now.